I'm Scott Hale, one of Imaginet's manufacturing experts. Having worked with literally hundreds of manufacturers, I can tell you that if you're embarking on a process improvement strategy, technology alone is just the tip of the iceberg. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to uncover some true keys to productivity. Our field experience with customers has shown that up to 50% of an engineer or designer's time is focused on non-value-added tasks, searching for information that should have been readily accessible, repeatedly entering data into multiple systems, or doing complicated engineering calculations, tasks that have nothing to do with actual project creation or design. A prevalent belief by many engineers is that the issues impacting their workflows are equally dispersed, that they have problems in many areas, so it's difficult to decide where to begin to solve the problem. The truth is that studies have shown that a mere 4% of the process can actually account for 50% of your inefficiencies. The key is to determine which 4% of your process is causing the biggest bottleneck in your workflow. Eliminate these and you'll experience significant gains in productivity. So how do you eliminate your 4%? Imaginet has an easy 3-step process. Number 1, you have to review the entire process. If you want to make meaningful change, you need to measure and evaluate all the steps in the entire process, from sales to engineering to order processing and out to the shop. Number 2, you got to be able to identify the key bottlenecks in those processes. Our experience with customers has identified several specific areas that typically pose the biggest process problems. Those are the sales approval process, the project design process, and downstream collaboration. For instance, during the pre-sales process where the customer, sales rep, and engineering interact, we typically see visualization challenges, difficulty quoting, and turning around sales drawings. Once a project gets to engineering, there are additional things that can amount to that 4% that zaps your productivity. Re-entering information over and over again. Inefficiencies generating bill of materials, very typical issues we see. Once you've identified those key bottleneck areas, we're going to move to step 3, and that's streamlining your workflow through process automation. By automating any one of these areas, you can dramatically shorten the process time required and increase throughput. No one wants to be the bottleneck, especially now that many departments are staffed at levels that are only 70% of what they were just a few years ago. Now, I'd like to leave you with just one recent example of how one of our clients was able to identify their biggest bottleneck, their 4%, and the results that they saw by automating the process. Belvac, headquartered in Lynchburg, Virginia, is a manufacturer of heavy machinery for the canning industry. They had already moved to a 3D design process using Inventor, and had told us that they had indeed seen a reasonable increase in productivity over their previous 2D process, but still had not addressed the single biggest bottleneck that was impacting the time required for engineering of each new machine. That bottleneck was the time required to define a constant velocity path which a can would travel through the machine as it's being formed. This path was unique for each and every can based on its size and other requirements, and affected the design of many assembly components. This process was taken 5 to 7 days to complete, and only one of the 6 engineers on the staff at the time had the skill to do the required calculations that the others on the team were going to use to develop the overall 3D design. By automating this process through the development and utilization of several rules-based design engines that incorporated all of the tribal knowledge that they had accumulated over the years, Belvac was able to reduce the time needed for this single task from 5 days to just 5 hours. This represented a dramatic increase in the team's productivity and throughput for each machine ordered. Now that you've gained some insight into the value of process automation and some of the areas that you can leverage this, I would ask that next Monday in your morning scheduling meeting, pick a time to begin your process review, and remember that Imaginet Technologies has many years of experience helping hundreds of clients maximize their productivity, and we're here to help you. Thank you.